I want to talk to you about Lucinda and just about how to deal with her in very specific little situations in your house, in her new home. I think that she's going to be a little bit jumpy maybe, even though when we place a dog, we will have visited you multiple times. She will have already done a sleepover with you. Sometimes we visit the home and do training at the home 5-6 times before we actually end up delivering the dog and leaving the dog there, because we want to make sure that everything is easy for her to handle and that she's been gradually acclimated to the home in that way, so that if there's anything that's going to pop up, we're still on the scene. We can catch it right as it starts to happen and fix it, rather than waiting for the call, a month later, 3 months later, that it's a big problem and you have to return her. So we don't ever want that to happen. So we don't just drop the dog off after a house check. And she did have some issues in her last foster home. We're not sure really what they were, but there's no doubt that there was no structure in that home. She had no training. It was probably fairly chaotic, and you can't blame a little insecure, sweet being like her for being nervous and maybe being nippy or being frightened easily. And when they're frightened easily, sometimes they nip. So I just want to say that circumstances like if she's asleep, try not to jolt her out of a sound sleep by touching or petting her. A good way to do it is to say, come, and she'll wake up and come to you. Or if you're going to do that, if you have to do that, approach her with a reward. So if she's curled up in her doggy bed or on the floor or something, walk up to her, get a treat. Maybe in your house, keep a couple of bowls of little treats out during the day. You can just use this natural balance stuff. It's really easy, keeps it easy. Just keep the bowls in the fridge at night, take them out, have them out, put them in strategic spots throughout your house during the day. And this is just all at first, not forever, but maybe the first month that you have her get a treat, go up and approach her, and she'll wake up, get a treat, give her a treat, good girl, pet her that way, and put her on a leash, or take her collar and say, okay, come on, let's go, like that. But always start the interaction with a reward like that. That in itself, you do that from day one, and she's going to have a great feeling about you coming close to her in any situation, because you would have done it dozens of times in a very short period of time. She starts anticipating that whenever you approach her, something really good is going to happen, as opposed to being scared and skittish and not knowing what to expect when you come close to her. So if every time you approach her, you come bearing a gift, she's going to start having that impression later on. You don't have to have anything. And as you see throughout this video, it's always when I approach her or when I do something, it's good, and you can add the pet. You say good the moment you give her that treat. So she'll have that association with that word. Later on, it's just good, no treat, and it'll be fine, and she'll almost feel like she got a treat probably. So you always approach her with a reward. And this is, like I said, not forever, but maybe the first month you have her in the household, and if you have multiple people in the family, if everybody's doing it, her whole life is gonna revolve around, hey, when's the next time somebody's going to approach me? Because something great happens every time. And then when you don't have a treat, just say good and pet her anyway, and it just kind of, later on, you don't need treats at all. Also, if she's interested in something, let's say that she has something, she's in the trash, or she found a bone or something, and you want to get away from her, never go and take anything from a dog, especially a dog you don't know really well. Get your reward, call her away from it. And we're going to do that for you right now. Check it out. So Lucinda is chewing on a bone she really likes. Oh, there's good stuff on there. I'm not going to go take it away from her. Let's say it's something that's not appropriate for her to have, but still she loves it. Away from that. Come. Good girl. See how she came away from it? She really loves these peanut butter bones, and she hesitated for a couple of seconds, but she ended up coming away from that bone. Let's try it one more time. Come. Good girl. It's a great exercise to practice it as well in your environment. Give her something that, like a bone or something, or a favorite toy would be at a lesser level of desire for her, but practice calling her away from something really special and using a leash to do it. Come. Good. I haven't had to use the leash because her recall is so good. Always give her something special when you call her away from it. So that's how you're going to handle getting her away from something that's on the ground, or whatever you don't want her to have in your household. Don't ever go and take it from her, because she could growl or try to nip at you. You never know. A new dog in a new environment can do those sorts of things. Use the training she has. Go, stop yourself, go get a little piece of chicken or piece of cheese, whatever you have, call her away from it, reward her, take her somewhere, and then go and pick it up later, or pick it up after you put her outside or in her crate, or whatever you're going to do, wherever you're going to take her. Sit. Always have her sit first, have her wait. She loves her crate, so she needs permission to go in there. You open the door, you pat her chest and say, go. Send her in a crate. She goes in there, she turns around. The reason why she loves her crate is that we do this every time. She turns around, you give her a treat, reach in, unhook her at the same moment, close the door. At our house, she's been here for a number of months now. She sleeps in the crate every night. Her routine is to come in and out of this crate exactly like that. I'm about to show you how to take her out in a second, but exactly like that, 4, 5, 6 times a day. Of course, we have a house with yards, and so she has, long periods of time at different times of the day where she's out free. So there's, you never keep a dog in a crate for long periods of time, except at night. They would be in one spot anyway sleeping, but always right before bedtime in the crate. She goes out one last time. First thing in the morning, you let her out, and plenty of time outside the crate, of course, in the house or outside. But it's a great way to add structure to her life. Dogs are naturally den animals, so we developed this crate as her den. Everything great happens in here. She obviously sleeps in there. She's got a blanket in there. She gets her bones and chewies in there. We feed her in there. The whole power of the crate is that you control the boundary, just like you saw us controlling the front door, the gates, the curbs. Boundary training is huge in dog training, and if you control the boundaries in a dog's life, they think you're the boss. You don't have to be rough or tough or cause pain to them. You just control the boundaries, like you see we're doing in these videos that we made for you. And she just thinks you're God. You're the boss. So it's a smart way of dealing with a dog, and there are no corrections, as you can see. We just teach her the system, and you use the system. So we control the boundary to her favorite place in the world, which is her den. She's naturally a den animal, so it's not difficult to do. She has to sit and wait to be allowed to go in. Every interaction concerning her in the crate is super positive. Every time she goes in, she gets a treat and close the door. When we go to take her out, let's say she's been in there for an hour or so and it's time for her to go outside again. Treat, leash, open the door. Good. She munches on the treat. I hook her up to her collar. By the way, we're just using just a normal collar, no fancy contraptions around her muzzle or harnesses or any kind of different training collar. All she needs is a regular collar. That's what we've done all the training on, and a 6-foot leash. So just hook it up to her collar. She waits. See, she knows waits until she's allowed out. Okay, she's going to come out. We're going to take her out for a walk. Let's say, always close this door, because if you let her run in and out without permission, you pretty much squander your greatest power when it comes to the crate, because you need to control her access in and out, because it adds a whole new dimension of the dog feeling safe with you and feeling like you're in charge. She feels like like you're in charge because you're managing every aspect of her life. Then you must be the pack leader, right? You must be dominant, and she'll perceive you as that, and that makes the dog feel safe, calm. They don't feel like they have to guard you as if you're an object to guard. You're actually taking care of them, and you don't have those issues. So this is one piece of the puzzle, just like all the other things that we're showing you on this video. They all fit together and create this well-behaved dog. But the crate's really important that you do it that way, and it's very simple. It's just sit and wait, open the door, go, treat, close the door, and then, by the way, if she does ever start to come out, like let's say that once I'm not on the scene anymore and you've had her for a while, she starts running out, just do a little token, little slam like that and say no. She'll wait, and make sure that she really waits until you say okay and she comes out. If she ever has a problem with going in, which sometimes the dogs are great here, but they go to the new home and they're not so great there, then do this. Okay, one last thing with the crate here. Sit. Let's say that she decides she doesn't want to go in for whatever reason. She's just testing you. Take this treat, little piece of treat, whatever you're using. The same motion you saw me where I say go, toss it in. She'll follow it in. Everything else stays the same. And you only have to do that probably for a couple of days. Toss a treat in as you say go. And then later on you won't have to do that because she'll get into the groove with you, as she already is with us here, of course. You can practice this little exercise where she's in the crate, you step back, she waits, good, you give her rewards for that. If she tries to come out, you say no, give her a little token slam. She waits, more rewards, good. It's a good little exercise to do. She's respecting this boundary. You have control of this boundary, so it's a great little exercise to do. Okay, so the only time she ever comes out is when you allow her to come out just like that. Okay. Okay, so we're gonna go on a walk here with Lucinda. Sit, have her sit, the front door. Hopefully you can see her right there. I'll step out, she stays in the sit stay. I walk back. Okay, she walks out with me calmly, not pulling me through the front door. I'm gonna do a little left turn. If you're by yourself, of course, you have to close the door, so always make sure that you're turning left into her, because obviously, okay, it's a very dominant move. Sit, to turn into the dog. Instead of dragging her around, always turning right. And since in dog training it's pretty standard to have the dog on the left, that's how we've been doing it as well. And this is the way we start our walk every day. And we put the leash on inside my house. We start the whole process of the training before we get to the street, so that when we get to the street we have a very calm dog that's far less reactive and less likely to pull and lunge at other dogs or bark at people or whatever she might do. I don't know what she used to do, but we just assumed that she had different issues, and she definitely had overstimulation and she was very excited. So we know that at the very least people don't want a dog that pulls them all over the place and is a hassle to walk. So that certainly, starting the walk this way really takes care of that issue. We're going to continue the video outside and show you how we bring her out onto the street. Okay. Okay. We're going to come out of this gate here, sit with Lucinda. And of course this is the gate that opens out onto the street, where normally a dog would want to pull you through because she's so excited because she wants to go on a walk. But she knows how to do this. She knows that if she exerts self-control over herself, okay, and goes calmly through all these boundaries out onto the street, that she gets to be free sooner, and she gets to take her very enjoyable walk, which she's free on most of the walk, and sit, can do whatever she wants to do. So that's why we've established this pattern over the last couple of months of this is always how we start the walk. She knows how it goes every time. It's a great way to do training. See, I just did a little sit stay at the curb here, and we are going to go across the street. You might want to stand over there because you're going to show me going over there. Okay, and then whenever we cross the street, I do this, I consider a curb a boundary as well, pretty major boundary, important boundary. And when we walk across the street, I'm keeping her in training mode where she's not pulling, she's walking next to me. Go to the other side, and here's where I say sit, and I release her, pat her chest and say, go. Go. She's very well controlled. You can go. We're going to take our walk now. Yeah. So this whole process that you're going to see on the video, starting inside my house, through the front door, through the gate, because I'm talking to you so much, it took twice as long or 3 times as long, but in general it's like 1.5 minutes. But you just do it every time you take her for a walk, and she starts anticipating. You might want to come closer to me. She starts anticipating that this is the way it's going to go. She calms herself down. and it's great for doing training anyway, great for her stays and you know, her sit commands and knowing that she's not allowed to pull you through boundaries and things like that. So why not do it? It takes you a couple minutes to do every day, and it just gets easier every day you do it in your environment, and it just makes for a much calmer dog when you take her out on a walk. Okay, let's go. So we have big distractions here. See how Lucinda is sitting in the presence of, she gets a reward for that. See how she looks back at me? Good. So whenever I reward her in the sit position, I always make sure that she looks up at me. And if she's not, I'll tap her head. She looks up at me. She's actually looking me in the eyes as I, good, give her the reward. It seems like a little thing, but it's actually very powerful. It gives you so much more control over the dog over time than if you would just do the average thing, which people go like that. And see how that even makes her get up? Nope. And then it's not as clear a message to the dog that this is central command. Always be checking back with me. If this is where good stuff comes from all the time, good. She's going to be looking up at you a lot more, just naturally, because that's where something good comes from, is eye contact, the reward. And notice how I say good at the same moment. She's looking in my eyes and I give her the treat. The timing of when you say good is very important, so say it at exactly the same moment you give her the reward. And of course, stay is built in to sit, so we don't say stay anymore. I think in general dog trainers don't say stay anymore, modern dog training. So she knows that if I say sit, that it means to stay, that she's waiting to be released. So we eliminate that whole command and too much talking. If I wasn't talking to you about all this, then look at how you're catching all the people that are walking past, right? You got a lot of distractions around here, and she's just calm and knowing that she's waiting to be released. And we only release her when we come back, stand next to her with your right hand. You just lean down there and you say, go, and she knows she's free. So if I hadn't been talking to you about all this stuff, it would have been one word, sit. It would have been good whenever I rewarded her, and then the release command and barely no talking. So less is more. The less you talk, the better. The higher level of focus you'll have from the dog, and less commands, better. So eliminate all the useless commands like stay. You don't have to say that anymore because stay is built in to sit. Okay. We're out here in a very public place, very busy place, and I wanted to show you how I've been practicing the down command. And here out in public, I'm not going to chance it that I would just say it without helping her and she would go down. So you saw how I did it. I said down at the same moment that I applied a little bit of pressure. Good girl, good. We had big distractions coming past. And so you see how she was looking. I think she was just about to pop up, and one of the guys, I think, was talking to her as well. But I kind of drew her back my way with a little reward. See, I just kind of lured her back and rewarded her. And that's how I deal with distractions with her, is I'll lure her with a little reward. I won't touch her. I want to make sure you see this. And when she's in a down, I'm just putting it on the floor in front of her and making sure that she waits until I set it there and withdraw. If she gets up like this, no. See how I'm stepping into her and kind of like doing a little do-over circle, turning her away from her mistake. You also do that with a sit stay as well. If she breaks out of a sit or down before you release her, turn her away from her mistake. When you turn the dog away and you reset them, it gives them a fresh start. It gives their brain a chance to do it better. It's so much better than not doing that and having her stare in the same direction, because she could easily get stuck in mistake after mistake after mistake, and that's a pattern you don't want to practice. So if she pops up, you do a little do-over circle, put her back, make sure that she really waits. No. You might have to do that a couple times. No. She's not touching my hand. She's waiting. No. See how she's waiting now? Good. It's right there, sweetie. Good. Keep her honest. We're doing all this out here in public where I mean, this is really hard for her to focus and be calm. That's why I'm doing the video out here for you. Good. See how she's waiting now? Everybody's walking past, and she's still staying in the downstay. This is really hard for her to do, but we have been practicing this. And the reason that I practice with these dogs that maybe formerly had little issues, like she had overstimulation issues where she might even be nippy with somebody or aggressive with other animals. We don't know what happened in the foster home, but things got pretty crazy. We've never seen that here with no. Make sure that you might have to pull back a few times and say no. Make sure she waits respectfully until you set the reward there. Good. And then as you withdraw, she takes it, you say good as she takes it. So we've never seen any of that stuff with us, but because we thought and we were told that she may have had some of those issues in the foster home, we handled her in a way so that, wow, it's just a parade of big distractions. Good. We handled her in a way that would never trigger those problems just in case she did have those. So, good. Right here. Look, sweetie. Good. Always trying to draw her attention away from these distractions, these people walking past and carts going past. So from day one, we just really were careful what we did, what we didn't do with her. She was never triggered to do anything inappropriate with us. So we've built up this long period of time where she just has never done anything like that. In conjunction with that, teaching her higher level of focus, teaching her this whole system of sit stays, down stays, recall, come commands, in all different situations. Good. Which really doing training in this way, we're really after the byproduct of what being able to do this gives a dog when they're on free time, makes them way less reactive. At the very least, she has a fuse where she could go back into a chaotic environment. Let's say, God forbid, that happens. And it just was going to take her a lot longer to behave badly like she used to. From what we heard, she may have, before, but she may not ever be triggered to do that again because she's so stable now. But it's because it's a byproduct of practicing these really intense downstays and sit stays that you see like we're practicing now with all these distractions out in public where anything can happen. Good. So this was like really good for her to do. See, if she pops up early, no. You can do this. See, if I just lift my foot, I'm not even touching the leash, you can do that. Most of the time I would do the circle, but in that case, since we're about to release her, I'm not going to do that. She went back, and now she just was anticipating that I was going to release her, but you need to make sure that she really waits to be released. You come back next to her, pat your leg and say, okay. Say sit, and always release her from a calm sit stay, exactly like what I just did just now. Pat her chest and say, go. And she's free. Every time you do down stays and sit stays like this, and I'm not suggesting you do something this intense, but what you're after is a calm release because they remember how every interaction, every little training interaction ends, and it's all about how it ends. So you don't end with an exciting like, okay, and then everybody jumps up and runs around. You want the release to be calm because the whole idea of doing training this way is that the byproduct is every time you release her out of this, it's okay, doesn't matter. You're still on film. So anyway, she's a little bit calmer, just a little bit calmer, and that's what we're after. So hopefully whoever adopts her after this, they'll continue this and she'll just get better and better. Okay. So we're walking Lucinda sit up to the person we're greeting. This is the greeting routine. We're going to give him a little reward there, a little treat. All you have to do is when she comes over, just go down like that and let her accept the treat from you, and then I'm going to call her back to come to me. So she's waiting for me to say, go say hi. She goes over, gets the treat. Good. I say, come. She comes back, good. We've done this a whole bunch of times. So she's very familiar with the whole routine. Sit, you can introduce her to anybody in this way, and right away she knows they're going to be okay. It's a very structured way to introduce her to somebody. Obviously she has a sit and wait. I step away from her. I give the person, she sees me give the person a little treat. She knows exactly what I'm doing since we've done this so many times. And she waits for me to pat her chest and say, go say hi. She goes over, gets the treat from the person. I say, come, call her back to me. Good. You could just do it 3 or 4 or 5 times. And it's just a great way to practice. It's like half the training, first of all. It's, you got the sit, you got the sit stay in the presence of a new person, and she doesn't know him, and he's wearing a hat and everything. You can even throw in a sit stay after you step over to him and hand him the little treat. You can throw in a walk around sit stay and then pat her chest and say, go say hi. She gets the treat. You can pet her as well. Good girl. It's a great way for her to meet new people. Give her one more treat here and pet her, and then come, call her away from the person. Good. And if you ever have a circumstance where you think she's a little bit afraid of the person, or the person's maybe afraid, you don't have to do the whole thing that I'm doing here, but just have the person have something very of high value. Like we're using this Natural Balance sausage right now, which is a dog training treat, but you can use a piece of chicken breast, cheese, anything like that. Remember that the whole idea is that she gets a great impression, a special impression of meeting somebody new. We always introduce the dogs to people out on neutral territory. It could just be out in front of your house or your apartment, wherever she ends up living after we place her, because she is for adoption. But just designate that little area as where she meets people for a while. And because dogs associate behavior with a location, so that spot, that's where she meets people. Anybody she meets there is a great person and everything's cool, and then you all go in the house and then you have the person give her a couple of treats in the house as well. The worst place to introduce a dog that might be a little insecure in a new household is to have that person walk through your front door and meet her in her little space. Dogs are very likely to, that are insecure, are likely to want to guard that front door, and when people walk through it, it can put them on edge, right? Just from that. So you want to have her have a great impression of that person, and then, like the last step would be, so she's obviously great with this guy. The last step would be give him or her or them treats. They walk in first, because you don't want, if she's at all insecure with new people, you don't want them following us. So they walk in first, they go inside to your living room, they turn around, you come in through the door, and one more time, go, and then she gets a treat from him. He's already in there, and she walks through after him, come, and then you can hang out. Just at first, always make sure that, you keep the leash on, and if you see any kind of trouble with her and another person out on the street, in the house, then you call her away. But we haven't had any issues with her, with visitors in my house or anything like that. I'm just not sure what she did in the last homes that she was in, so we're just doing all these exercises just to make sure that whoever adopts her has the tools in which to deal with whatever major issues would come up. And these are all the major issues that they're most likely to come up with rescue dogs: guarding, being protective of their family, of their environment, those types of things. So that's why we do this exercise. But it's not likely to happen because of all the work we've done with her. But just continue these things for a while after she comes to your house, and you'll be assured that she'll be fine. Later on, just keep what you need and leave the rest. And you always have these skills. She'll always have these skills to use whenever you need them.